How goes it, everybody? Spike Daddy here, and a little bit different of a video here. I recently got back into mountain biking, and that's been, I don't know, maybe 12 years since I've ridden a bike in that, and got my bike all tuned up in that. That's my cousin there. Um, we're getting ready to run a couple trails here. So yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go through this whole thing right here. I'm just using my little action cam. It's not the greatest. I will definitely warn you guys for anybody that maybe might get a little bit motion sickness in that watching these kind of videos. In that the stabilization is not that good, and it is attached. The camera was attached to my handlebars basically in the center. So anytime I turn the tire basically in that, it turns the camera in that. And of course, right now it's not that bad. It doesn't look too shabby in that. It's kind of stable in that. But this is just this is the main path leading to the northern loop that we go through and do. It gets really bumpy. It gets very narrow, and so yeah, there's a couple times that you'll see on here and that where the camera kind of goes borky a little bit as far as blurriness goes. There's also a couple spots in that where I actually have to dismount the bike in that, mainly because of a couple bridges that are kind of elevated up in that, and I was caught off balance. Like I said, guys, this I haven't biked in a long time. So basically I'm going from I haven't ridden a bike in about 12 years to hey, let's take on some pretty gnarly trails. Now the trails aren't gnarly, so to speak. This part right here, of course, isn't, but then it gets narrow to where if you don't line it up properly in that, you're gonna catch your pedal or you're gonna catch your handlebar basically going through. And every area that you see here, this area right here, you see is a little bit sandy here. You'll see some of the spots in here where it gets really sandy and the bike swerves, like right here. You'll see it kind of swerve around quite a bit because it's tough to keep balance on that loose sand. The sand that we're going through here, and that is probably about a good 3 to 4 inches or so thick, and it's loose packed sand, so it's not like it's easy riding like it is here on the dirt and the mud area. Um, I don't know if I'm going to put music to this. If I find some tracks to put onto it, I might. But of course, YouTube with the whole not really. I don't monetize my videos in that, but they'll get copywritten and all that stuff like that. And I don't want to have any copyright strikes on my channel, so I'm gonna just probably leave it like this right here, nice and just kind of relaxing. Like I said, I might try to find some what is it DMA or whatever like that, copyright not copywritten music or whatever like that to play possibly. I don't know. I'm actually just go through and watch this. About an hour long or so, roughly about 53 minutes or so. We went through the northern loop, and then afterwards, our other buddy that's actually tailing me right now. You'll see him here in a little bit when we go through a couple other areas. That's a pretty tight fit there. Those areas are probably only about 16 to about 20 inches or so wide. Yeah, a little bit of brush there too. The trail is pretty well maintained. There are, of course, quite a few little branches in that here and there from storms, of course, kind of laying around, laying about. Um, uh, and there's a couple low bridges, and as you've seen, a couple tree limbs and that in the way. There are folks walking through here. These folks right here shouldn't actually be walking this trail. This is actually technically just a bike trail, so they shouldn't really be walking their dogs and everything through it. That's mainly kept on the main trail. Um, and you'll see through here that we run into a couple other people in that on here, but we don't run into anybody else really until we go through the what you call it, until the main road area towards the end of the episode. Uh, so yeah, so this is a nice little talking head video in that. I guess you know what? I guess I'll keep talking a little bit here and that. That way, yeah. This is when we realized my cousin Ben there. He said we probably are going the wrong way. This doesn't feel like the right way. And I was like, you know what? I think you're right because we the day before this, we actually rode the same exact trail, just me and him. And I think we were supposed to take a right back there instead of constantly going through. And I think that's what kind of got us looped around. There's a couple times where we go through and do it. We do have a GPS on his phone that kind of leads us a little bit through it. But that's really essentially about it. And that's Max right there. Max is actually a bit more of a mountain biker than us. He actually towards the end of the episode, and not really episode, it's not really an episode, it's just a video. Towards the end of the video, in that when you'll see him kind of split off to the left, he's actually going to run this exact trail again. And while we run the other main trail, a little bit bigger of a trail, which turns out to be a pretty nice trail. However, when you get around towards the end of the trail and that, it gets insanely insanely bumpy in that because of all the tree roots that are popping up out of the ground there and getting washed away from water and erosion and all that stuff like that. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into trying to get back into shape, and I've always enjoyed mountain biking as my choice of a cardio and that sort of thing like that. Either just cycling or anything like that, but I mean, uh, my cousin there and that he's back when we were kids and that this is what we used to do. We used to ride bikes like all the friggin' time. Like that's all we did was ride bikes. Like aside from that and playing Nintendo 64 or PlayStation, that's really all we did was just go outside and ride bikes. So he got back into it before I got back into it, and we took the he took my bike in and that to the tune up and got everything tuned up, and it does run pretty good. Now he's got a nice giant bike. He's got a relatively expensive bike, and that like an actual good entry level, maybe a little bit above entry level mountain bike, and that better frame, better stability, better shifters, and so on and so forth. Just overall a nicer bike than what I have. My bike is just a big box store. I got it from Walmart and that back in like 2018. I rode it for a quarter mile. Oh yeah, so bridges are fun. You'll see a little bit here and that. Actually, I think it's I don't know if it's here. It probably is coming up here and that to where I don't really derf it or anything like that, but I have to kind of pop off to the side a little bit. I got a bad habit of following him too close, and I don't want to this though. No, not right here. I don't know where it's coming in at, but that was a big little drop right there with a bunch of roots, so it's kind of bumpy. I guess this video isn't too bad. It looked a lot worse than that when I looked at it in VLC Player. See, this right here is one of the main roads. This main road right here, you see the purple on the right, that shows us the northern loop, or the north loop. And that takes us through here, and then eventually we get back on the north loop. So the north loop does run into this little main section road right here. I don't know if this is part of the south loop or if it's just part of like a little back road or a little main road. So you notice a little bit wider, it's flatter. This is how the main road, or the main trail, I should say, and that normally looks like. It's nice, it's well maintained, not a lot of bumps and stuff like that. There are hills and turns and stuff like that. So normally you would go straight through here, but we're hanging a left here to get back onto the northern area. So you see it turns back into basically a little bike trail. It's got to be coming up here soon than that. I feel like it was earlier on for sure. I decided to try to take one of the little bridges that I didn't take last time because I'm like, it shouldn't be too bad. And I end up going off balance a little bit, and I have to dismount off the bike in that in order to not crash, of course. But yeah, my bike is just a little cheapo bike in that from Wally World. It's about a $200 bike or so, and that it's a Schwinn. I don't know what the hell the model is of it. It's 29-inch. He's running a 17.5. Max is running a 29-inch. I'm actually debating about getting a 27.5 inch because it feels like it might handle a little better. The feel of the 29 is nice, and it actually gives a little bit smoother of a ride in my opinion. But at the same time, I don't feel like I can control it as well as I could, a 26 or a 27.5 inch. I guess this video doesn't look too bad. Of course, I'm looking at it at a little bit smaller of a screen within Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use for editing. So this right here, full screen, might make you a little bit nauseous or whatever like that. And I can fully understand that. I mean, when I was looking at it full screen and that, it was making me a little bit like, okay, this is kind of hard to follow. Of course, the areas that we're going through right now, the beginning part of this trail isn't that bad. It's not as knotty. It's not as, not as bad. But when we get into some more of the tougher terrain, I should say, it's not really so much tougher terrain. It's really what it is it's the sand when you go to do a turn, or it's really loose, thick sand, or when you go across a bunch of like an area in that where all the roots from the trees and that pop up out of the ground and that, and it's like you gotta kind of have to navigate a bit over it to kind of go through. Yeah, that was a nice little spot right there to freaking catch through. Of course, there's a freaking mosquito inside of here. Yeah, shove off, man. Sorry. I'm getting attacked IRL right now and that by a stupid blood-sucking mosquito. Stupid thing. Must have followed me in from outside, of course. So yeah, but this is a fun trail. This is just located at a one of the cities in that next to us. It's got a nice forest area in that. It's great for riding. I love it. I'm completely sold on it. It was a bit of a shock yesterday when I went through here and that, because of course I trail riding in that. I mean, this isn't the bridge. This bridge was easy. It was doop doop doop. It wasn't that. I was going to go through that jump there. This was the one right here. I'll go off balance a little bit. I should have leaned a little bit more to the left, and instead in that I kind of my tire pops off to the side. And of course, since it's a 29-inch freaking wheel in that, it's my seat set up really high in that, and it's hard for me to kind of catch my footing. And of course, it was farther off to the left here. Here's where we actually kind of sit a little bit. You know, we kind of been pushing a little bit. Normally we do stop a little bit prior in that just to kind of refresh and whatnot. Me and my cousin in that, we're not exactly crazy bike riders in that. And our cardio, we're definitely in our we're essentially the same age. We're only separated by about 7 weeks or so. But we've definitely got the dad bod thing kind of going on now. I'm not a dad, he is. But at the same time, in that we both have the dad bod, you know, computer life, and you know, just being lazy and not being, you know, crazy into fitness and whatever like that. And that's something that we're kind of getting back into in that. So that's kind of why we do stop quite a bit. Not a lot. I think we only stopped a couple times in that, and each time that we stopped actually was to actually let other bikers go through, because there was a couple guys in that running the same trail here, and they were screaming through these freaking trails like I couldn't believe them. You could tell these guys have been doing it, you know, freaking 5-10 years. Probably where I would have been at had I would have actually kept mountain biking. I was pretty good. Me and Ben both were really good at freaking running through trails and, you know, just zerping through the freaking woods and that like bat out of hell. But well, you take 12 years off of riding a bike, and that's what happens. You don't forget how to ride it, but as far as maneuvering and going through pretty narrow areas in that, that's a completely different story. Now, I will say that right now, I'm also I'm not wearing a helmet. Yeah, here's the other guy coming through with the whole biker suit and the hydration backpack, and you could tell he's probably out here probably running every single trail. This trail right here that we're riding, and that is about 3 miles in totality. And then we go on the other trail and we do about 2 miles on there. So we did about 5 miles today. Yesterday we only did about 3. But this entire trail, the main system trail, the main trail, and that is like a 7 mile or 8 mile or whatever like that. So that's something that we're looking forward to kind of going up towards, getting our legs back into shape and, you know, sort of thing like that. This is where it gets a little bit bumpy. You can tell because there's a lot of the trees are really close, narrow cuts here and there. You see me constantly swerving left and right. That's you probably can't see it on the video, and I know you can't see it on the video that well, but it's mainly because of the fact that I'm trying to avoid the sand or the deep parts of the sand if possible, as well as avoiding a lot of the roots. Not to get too personal or anything like that, but we'll just say for us guys in that, guys bike seats and that are not the most forgiving when it comes to anything like that. So half the time I'm doing this, yeah, is that not a spot? No, that's not a spot. There's another spot where I come around the corner right here and I kind of swerve out a little bit because of all the sand. They put these sand pits in that literally right at the wrong spots in that. They put it like right at the corner where you're going uphill. So you got to push the power through it, but you also have to kind of lean into the turn a little bit. And in doing so in that, your back end kind of kicks out a little bit, which causes your front end to get squirrely. And it really messes it up. So yeah, I guess I will go through and kind of do a bit of a talk through on that. Oh yeah, why are people messaging me at freaking 12:30 in the morning? Who the hell? Well, I guess that's fine. That's okay for them to answer. Somebody I sent a message to in that a couple hours ago, finally getting back to me. So as you can see, they did maintain some of the stuff. He's going to go through and do this little thing right here. He's a little bit more ballsier than we are. Of course, he's been riding a lot more in that, so he's going up and down a couple of little waves things right there. After my last adventure with something like that, I decided not to. If it was more of a straight shot and you didn't have to turn left to get on it, I probably would actually tackle that. If it was like a straight shot, like right here, if it was just a straight shot and I had decent speed already, I'd go for it. I would just say screw it and go for it. But whenever it comes to a turn, that's what messed me up last time. So I said, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Not doing that at all. I know my limits right now. I'm still getting my feet wet again as far as getting back into the whole riding thing. You see me kind of swerve left and right, because I don't want to catch up to these guys too much. Like I was saying in that, it's when you solo ride, you definitely go at your own pace and you find your own pace, and you're not going to worry about anybody in front of you in that derping, or I shouldn't say derping, I should say derfing, or like catching a hard spot and wrecking or crashing or anything like that. So I try to keep my distance when it comes to these guys. Of course, but that's mainly the reason being. And there's times in that where I don't really notice it, that I'm catching up too quick, and you'll see me kind of like, oh, we're really close, and I got to slow down a lot, and you'll see my handlebars zigzag left and right, left and right, left and right. It's because I'm trying to still keep up on the bike without having to put my foot down. So that's the whole point for that, or the whole reason for that, I should say. I think upcoming here is where the next part is that gets a little bit squirrely, if I remember correctly. Yeah, like right. That's not right here. It's where we go back up. There's a sand pit. Yeah, that right there was annoying. Sand right there. And just that sand slows you down so much. It really, really does. And also, it doesn't help that my bike either. I decided to take this like an idiot, by the way, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a bit of a drop, but that's all right. We recovered, and it was great. Oh, where is it? Where is it at here? Yeah, that spot right there looks better. I think we do take a little bit of a right here. Yeah, we take the right. Oh, what was I getting at though? Yeah, the sand is definitely, I think, the worst part of these trails. If there wasn't sand, the trails would actually be a lot easier to go through, in my opinion. The sand is the biggest demise for me right now. Oh yeah, I was also mentioning that my bike, for some reason. So guys, I'm actually riding this bike in 6th gear the entire time. Every once in a while, I might be able to get it into 5th gear for a hot second, but for some reason, my derailleur in that does not like shifting into anything less than 5th gear or 6th gear. So that's why you see me struggling going up hills, is because I've got to really, really push to to get up the freaking hills. Like, I really got to push. It's to be fully honest in that, it's a great workout. I'm happy with it. My legs were sore a little bit this morning. My arms were a little bit sore this morning, and I guarantee you tomorrow it's going to be the same exact thing. And you know what? I love it. I love it for that. I'm so happy that I'm getting back into biking and finding a good area to ride a bike too. That's the other thing. Ever since I moved a bit into, I'm essentially technically in the city. Oh yeah, this sand pit right here. That's annoying. Yep, I got caught there. I'm like, can I make it through? Nope. Had to stop and kind of catch a little bit. Get back on the freaking trail, and that sand is just horrible. I didn't have the speed to go through that sand, and like I said, it's because it's also going uphill. Oh yeah, this guy right here came flying up on us like out of nowhere. It's like all of a sudden he wasn't there, and all of a sudden he was like right on my rear. It's like, oh, holy crap. Yeah, he just screams through the freaking forest, and it's nuts. I think he's one of the last ones that actually goes past us. I'm not sure. There might be another one. But yeah, the sand is really the biggest downfall in that. It's also the fact that I can't drop into a lower gear when we come across sand, so I can really keep the pedaling going, keep the momentum going. So it just gets too squirrely, and it's kind of a pain. Like I said, that's my only downfall about the trail in that. But I'm happy that this trail system and everything in that is around here, because like I said, I moved into the city. I'm technically in the city, but I'm really only about a block into the city. Wonderful technicalities, right? So I don't really have any good spots to really ride around here that are, in the wooded areas. I mean, woohoo, sidewalks and roads and that are slam packed busy 24/7. It's just not a good spot to ride bikes. So this is perfect. This is absolutely phenomenal as far as finding a good spot to ride. I'm glad my cousin in that pointed out to me. He's like, hey, let's go right over here. I went over here and rode a couple times. It's fun. So I said, cool. Where are we at now? What about the 19-minute mark or so right now? Yeah, the trails, like I said, the trail's a pretty good trail. It's a pretty long trail in that. It feels longer than I think it actually is, and that's because of how many twists and turns and double backs there are. And like you see here, we just zigzagged. We came from the left side. I mean, it could be easy just to go straight through this and not have these turns, but of course, then it wouldn't really be that challenging of a thing. Oh, is it right here? I know it's around. It's a bend that's around like right here. So yeah, I think it's this one right here. I catch a little bit of too much of the sand. Nope, not that one. Oh, that one I was able to push through. It's a left turn. I don't know why, but for some reason left turns and that for me and that just suck. I don't know why. It's probably because I'm right-handed. That's what it is. I'm right side dominant. That's what it is. That's my excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. Dang it. Oh yeah. So when we get deeper in the forest here, it gets darker, and this is where the camera kind of blurs out a bit, I guess, as far as what I seen when I was just kind of scrubbing through the video. But we're keeping a pretty good pace. It's not that bad. Oh yeah, that's the one. That one right there, I actually caught my pedal on yesterday. I'm surprised my pedal didn't break. But I'm also surprised I didn't fall over either when I caught it. It just kind of skidded my bike off to the right a little. Oh yeah, this is the go down and fast bridge. Whee! That's fun. I'm glad there's no like jumps or anything like that. Well, for one, I don't have a bike for doing jumps, even though I do have a nice bike for it being a big box store bike. It's I would never take it on a freaking jump where it has a high impact on the front end because, yeah, no, that would lead to disaster. I've seen too many videos of people in that mountain biking on, way rougher terrain, of course, than this with cheap bikes, and the bike fork in the front just completely breaks completely, and they completely derf it hard. So I'm not a fan of doing that as much as I would love to do jumps, and I would love to get back into doing jumps because I mean that's what we used to do too all the time back in the day. This is definitely not the bike to do that. So this path does cross the main path, of course, quite a few times. This is where it starts to get bumpy, I think, when we go into this wooded area where there's a lot of freaking roots on the ground. And of course, I'm trying to avoid them all in that because, like I said, men's bicycle seats, guys, not a happy time. Not a happy time at all. We do pick up speed a little bit here and that, a little bit later on in the video on that when we're running in the main trail and that I definitely try pushing speed to the test a little bit. Oh yeah, a lot of sand there. I hate that there's sand right before a freaking bridge. Because that just makes you're trying to line up on the bridge and there's friggin' sand right there in that, and that just makes your stuff squirrely. So if you're not, I mean, I'm lucky that I haven't derfed it as that many times, to be honest, because I just sometimes I'm amazed that I still can do this stuff right here. Oh yeah, here's some nice knotty areas. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. I guess it's not that bad. I wish I'm definitely going to be getting a helmet and a helmet mount for the action camera for sure, because this whole side to side zigzagging and bumpy, not really that stable in that. I don't really want to release footage like that. Essentially, is it here? Yeah, I don't know if it's here or not. I do pump, go, go, go. Yeah. Because like this is where. Oh yeah, that was the freaking turn right there. That was all uphill. I mean, the video doesn't really show it that well, but that was nice. And you can see to the right a little bit how it slopes quite a bit. Yeah, I was trying to go uphill in like 6th or 7th gear in that because the freaking like I said, my derailleur in that doesn't like going into lower gears. So definitely definitely a little bit horrible there. Let's see here. Yeah, this isn't really close towards the end of it, is it? No, it's not. We're only about 24 minutes or so, and this is where we stop and take a quick little breather and that. Oh, this is where I probably should have actually paused it and everything like that, because we take a pretty good breather here, and that even Ben's kind of winded too. So that's a tough part right there. That entire the past entire like maybe minute and a half, 2 minutes or so on that's literally I think all uphill, or at least on a somewhat of an uphill slope basically. So yeah, this is where we kind of just sit here and kind of chillax and whatnot. I should go through and edit this, but I'm not going to because I'm lazy. I don't want to edit it. We just sit here and we're just kind of BSing, and this is where I kind of tell them, yeah, don't forget guys, I'm kind of pushing this uphill and that in 5th, 6th, or 7th gear, whatever gear wants to freaking stay attached. So I gotta take it back in and figure out why it doesn't wanna shift into the lower gears, because that would really make this a lot easier to do. Being able to switch down, even going into fourth gear, I've got some pretty strong legs. I could definitely, if I'm doing it decently enough in that, in fifth gear and that, if I could just drop it down to one more gear ratio, it'd be so much better. It really, really would be so much better. Um, but yeah, so I think up here, and that is where I actually kick off the recording in that, and I kick it back on, so you'll see me already kind of riding. But we're just kind of taking a quick breather here, getting a little bit of water, kind of shooting the shit a little bit, seeing what Max thinks of the trail and that so far, and kind of talking about what we might plan on doing in that later on. So yeah, this is where I kick it off and we pick back up in that. So going back through the trails, yay, we so much fun. It actually is a lot of fun. As much as I bicker about the gears and the sand and the freaking insane freaking bumpy, like I like nice smooth trails that go up and down, hard lefts, hard rights, and stuff like that. I hate it when there's a bunch of stuff in the way, because there's a couple times in that. I don't know if it shows up on here. Oh no, this is, yeah, it's because I think there's another guy coming through, I think is what it was. I don't know if it was because another guy was coming through. Yeah, another guy. That's one of the other guys he just tears through that freaking thing like it's nothing. So yeah, I think that might be the last guy that goes through this up. You see how fast he's just hauling through there? Like I'm all for going through it quickly and wanting to go quickly and be cool and all that stuff like that. But man, like it's just, I'm not there yet. And it's kind of disheartening in that, because like the freaking the 18-year-old or the 20-year-old self in that would freaking be whipping through this place and that, doing Mach 10, just fucking hauling ass. Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit blurry, I think, in the video, and that because it's getting into lower light, because this is about 8:30 or 8 o'clock or so at night when we're actually riding through here, and it gets dark at about 9 o'clock or so. Oh yeah, he had to stop there because something happened with his suit or something like that, or something like that. But you can see that low bridge a little bit earlier on. That one right there, and that is that'll take you right off your bike basically. So I think the next time I come through in that, I might do the trail folks a favor if it's still there. I might bring my little camp saw and take it out for them in that, or at least trim it up enough. Now you'll notice that it's no longer purple on here; it's red. I think red lines up with this for a little bit. It does get a little bit more challenging. Like right here is a little bit of a drop off. Actually, you can see how much of it drops off in the front right there. So this is all about downhill. Yeah, it goes a little bit quick through here. And like I said, all the sand in the way. If there wasn't sand, this would actually be a lot easier of a trail. But those little tiny spots of sand, little tiny spots of white that you see on the trail, and that's all loose sand. Like that's not packed or anything like that. These little spots right here aren't that big of a deal because they're not that large. But there's a lot of parts in that where it's just like like some of the sand in that, it's almost like trying to go through a sandbox. Like it really is. It's quite annoying. I wonder how many times in that I yell at the freaking sand. I yell at it a lot when I was riding, so I can imagine I'm saying a lot of it in the video here. So, but this is it is a good trail. I'm hoping to maybe do a couple more of these videos on that for sure. Especially when I get a helmet. I'm not actually wearing a helmet like I should be. I should be wearing a helmet. But this is kind of short notice in that. And well, payday right now is tomorrow for me. So I didn't have the money to go out and get a helmet. I do have the little action camera GoPro thing, the mount for the helmet and all that stuff like that. So I will get that. And it'll be a little bit more stable, or it won't be so much like this right here, this little part right here, a little zigzag left and right, left and right, left and right as far as the handlebars go in that, because I'm trying to navigate it through a bunch of roots on the ground. You guys probably can't actually see. Like we wanted to stop to see if Max was going to go through that. That little spot to the right was actually a tire that was flat and laid out in a little like up and down, up and down. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not going after that either. That's too thin. It's like, I don't blame you. I guess I could do a voiceover for the entirety of it. I mean, hell, we're past halfway through. So I guess I'll just keep talking. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. And if you like this video and that, if you want to see more of these kind of videos and that, definitely let me know. I mean, of course, more encouragement, more likes and comments about it and that. Maybe you guys that are watching also enjoy bike riding and that, and do the same thing in that where you're at. That'd be kind of cool to find out, See if you got any tips and tricks or anything like that, that I should probably know about that I probably have forgotten in the past. Um, yeah, those sort of things. You can see how washed out the freaking the trails is, though. They do good maintenance on it, though. Like, there's a lot of the areas in that where it kind of widens out a little bit. You can tell they actually run a mower through here, I believe, because the grass is like trimmed down pretty well. So they definitely take some kind of a cutter through here or something like that to keep the grass down. Yeah, this part right here is annoying. It's like really, really tight quarters. And then these parts right here and that where they've got different kind of trail spots that kind of zigzag left and right. Because what they do is they put little tiny freaking like those rocks right there to the right to make it a little bit more challenging, or cobblestone like right here. This is annoying because I've not today when I was riding in that, but yesterday in that my bike completely slipped off and I almost freaking did a hard left into a tree because of one of those damn rocks. So there's little challenging spots here and there that you kind of have to think about and go through and do, but at the same time, I wish this trail right here and that had a couple things changed and different. Oh yeah, this is actually the end of the trail. Not okay, so it's not the end of the trail. We're actually going up a hill, which I should have really kept up speed, but this is going to be a pain. You're going to see a lot of left and right here because I'm trying to keep my balance in that. Because remember, I'm going uphill in about 6th gear. He's just going in 1st gear, climbing up at no problem. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so much. That doesn't look it right there, but that's actually a ski slope. I guess you can see a little bit how the incline is. And that just leads you up towards the bit of the end of the trail. We decided to take a look at this because yesterday we seen it. We didn't know what it was. And this is actually a toboggan zone as well. They actually do toboggans up over there. So we come up over here in that and kind of take a look at it. It's a nice place. It's a nice little state forest area in that for the trees and everything, and for trail riding and that walks. On the main road, on the main trail, you can actually take horses. You can walk your dogs and everything like that on there. You'll actually see a little bit later in the episode here, or a little bit later in the video in that. You'll see 2 big, beautiful Malamutes. They're walked by their owners, of course. Just beautiful dogs. They almost look like twins, to be honest. So definitely some big fluffy doggos for sure. Yeah, we're sitting here talking like, do we want to go over there and take a look at that, or we just want to keep going? We're like, screw it, let's go take a look, and see what it's all about in that. Because I'm sitting here thinking like, God, this kind of looks familiar in that, And when we actually get up closer to it, I cut right about here. So, right, yeah, this is where I cut. Right. Yes, yeah, there it is. So that right there is a toboggan run. I actually remember being here when I was like 10 years old, actually, surprisingly. That this is actually one of the places that we went to on a field trip to do a toboggan run. It was a lot of fun, at least from what I can recall. Freaking uphills, man. Uphills and freaking high gear is not fun. It's like I said, though, it's a good strain on the legs. We're like, okay, we got to go one at a time here, and that's just in case somebody derps. So, of course, there goes Ben. There goes that. This is where it gets a little shaky because it's not exactly even ground. But yeah, this is we're cooking here. It's a rush. It's great. I love it. So much fun. So much fun. And right up here, and that is essentially not necessarily the end of it. So it's fenced off right there. So we just kind of go through and we turn around. We pick back up on the trail. And now I have a moth in here. Son of a bitch. What the hell? I don't have any windows open. So yeah, the trail basically picks up right here and that we just kind of cut through. And this is where we would actually, so we cut through here. And normally if you hang a right, like a hard right here, and then I believe another right, we actually take it right to the end zone. Yeah, right here to the right, you can see there's a little bit more of a clearing in that. That's actually where we parked at. But Max mentioned back when we got to the bottom of the hill and got to the top part of the hill where that little shed was, he's like, I kind of want to run, North Loop again by myself and see how it goes. I said, okay. And that's when I said, hey, Ben, let's go do the main road really quick. Oh yeah, I think right up here is where we come across the Malamutes, or they're definitely Siberian Husky Malamute. Like these are big dogs. You see how big those dogs are? They're just so pretty and fluffy. I almost literally was like, can I pet them? I'm like, no, we got to keep riding. I don't want to be that person. And I should have. I really should have. So yeah, so he's like, okay, you go ahead and go through there, and we'll hang a right here, and we'll kind of follow through, and we'll meet back up over at the parking lot, basically. So he's like, okay, cool, see you guys. And he just like takes off. So this next part right here, when we're going through, this is actually technically part of the main trail. You can see it's a lot wider. It's not as, even though there is still some pretty good little bumps and stuff like that through, we're still in the deep wooded area of the trail. And you can see it's actually lit up by lights, so you can actually, go through this area and that towards the nighttime as well, which is really helpful actually. Um, but that's like evidently only for this part of the trail. It doesn't go through the entirety trail in that, because we're going through and we're like, we don't see any lights anymore. Like, wait a minute, did we miss a turn or something? Like, oh no, I guess the lights just don't go all the way through. Yeah, you see there's still some pretty bad knots here and there. Or I keep saying knots because I'm thinking knots like from a tree or from wood in that, but it's actually roots coming up from the ground that are they're exposed because of the erosion. And of course, a lot of these trees around here in that, they're not, the roots in that just get closer to the surface, of course. So the one thing that I will say about the main trail here in that is there is a good amount more sand, but it makes it a little bit easier in the same sense in that, because how wide the trail is. It's not really narrow in that, so you're not worried about the sand. Like in some spots right here in that, you'll see the handlebars kind of, left and right. You'll see the camera move left and right quite a bit, because I'm still trying to catch, a little bit more of a traction, because we're not exactly going through these at blistering speeds to keep balance properly. But there's a couple times that where you see me go left and right, but everything is fine because I'm still on the trail. Well, if it's the track, the trail that we were riding prior in that, too much of a left or too much of a right in that could, catch your handlebars on a freaking tree or whatever like that, and then down you go, basically. So as much as I hate the sand, and I still wouldn't like to see sand on, the main paths, especially not really hard compacted sand, it's still relatively okay because of how wide the trail is. And of course, there's not these giant sand spots in that, and a hard, double back 180 degree on a small little turn. um, this is perfect riding right here in that, where it's nice and compact dirt, little bit muddy in that for my liking in that, because I did get flung with mud by a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And it goes right here into sand. Yeah, right here sand. Oh, turn left, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right. And right here we're like, okay, so what's the path that we want to follow? Because the main trail, like I said, is like 7 miles or something like that. Like it goes like the entire square mile or more is the entirety of this trail system right here. So, and it has all the zigzags and curves and loops and stuff like that. So if you take a wrong turn, you'll still end up getting back to the place. You just might add on, another mile or two and that onto your ride. So we decide that, we should probably pay attention to the signs here and figure out what's the best path for us to go. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's why we're just kind of sitting tight here, just chilling. I think I actually kicked the camera off here too, if I'm not mistaken. Then I kick back up. Yeah, there it is. Anytime that we stop for, more than like 20 seconds or whatever like that, I try to kick the camera off in that, of course, just to save battery. This little action cam that I have, if you guys are interested in that, it's actually just it's a cheap one from Amazon. It's like a $40 or $50 little one. It's called Dragon Touch. It's Vision 3 4K ultra high def. This is actually recording in 1080p in that, mainly because I only have a 32 gig SD card for it, and I'm pretty sure 4K is a lot freaking higher as far as the usage in that. I still used about 10 gigs or so of it just recording this right here. So I probably could try 40 or 4K. I might be able to try 2K or 2700 resolution, which I might try next time to see how that goes and see how it looks comparison wise. But so far it's been a great little action camera. Definitely not a camera for indoors, because the light sensitivity is definitely not the greatest. But I think so far, aside from when you get into really dark areas like this, of course, when you get really, well, now it's probably closer to like 8:45 to 9, I think right now. Because we got to the parking lot at about 9 o'clock or so, and it's about another 15 or so minutes in that before the end of the video. So this trail part right here should look familiar. This is actually part of North Loop, meeting up with the main trail. But But yeah, this is a pretty nice little camera for it being a. It was those. I think you could get the camera itself for like $40, but I got the one with $50, and it came with a bunch of the attachment accessories, like the actual mount that I'm using right here. It came with a bunch of sticker mounts with the spots where you can mount to. You notice Ben, my cousin, he actually has a GoPro on his head too. It's the same essential one that I have, but it's a Russian version, or it's some other off-brand one or whatever like that. So he's got his on his helmet. That's exactly what I'm essentially going to do. I think right here is when we realize that we probably should turn around. I think this is what we did. I think he's checking his phone right now, actually, to see where we're at, because he got the trail system on his GPS. Yeah, I think we determined that this is the right way to go. So we're going through, and I think we're actually on. I want to say we're on 7 right now. So on path 7 or trail 7 or whatever it is. All these trails in that lead up to the intersect with one another, basically. And we go to trail 8, which is just a small little jog of a spot. Then we go to 9. In between 9 and 10, I haven't watched the footage yet on here. It's going to come up a little bit closer towards the end part, because from 10 you go to 3, and then 3 to the parking lot. That's where we realize that, maybe this is not the main path, because this is insanely bumpy and insanely horrible. Definitely fun though. I definitely need to get some accessories. I definitely need to get some bike shorts that have padding for the you know what I'm getting at. As well as yeah, this is where we're checking out the signs, because the signs in that. So okay, so we're on 6 right now. We go to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, and then we go back to 3. Or you can keep going to 11, and that kicks you actually really far away. So we're like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do that, because we're already sitting here thinking, well, shit, Max is probably already back waiting for us by now, and that he freaking was flying through the trails in that earlier. But no, I gotta get some accessories. I gotta get a helmet. I want to get some biking gloves, because there are a couple parts in here and that where little small little branches and stuff like that, and that do hit your knuckles. And my knuckles are getting a little bit, not necessarily worn down, but I feel it when I hit them. So I want to get some of those to kind of protect the hands a little bit, and of course the bike shorts and that to protect the other parts. Mainly because the seat just isn't comfortable. Mountain bike seats for guys in that are not good. This is where he tells me you should stand up in that so you can get more speed. I'm like, no, I can do that. It's just sitting down. And here I'm like, I'm just going to sit down and do it and just show you that I still got power in these old legs of mine. And I'm like, let's go, 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 go. Yeah, this is all sand right here. This is when I realized I should probably slow the hell down, because this is I'm gonna freaking get my freaking tire caught. Oh yeah, this is where it got really dark. Okay, yeah, so I see right here now where the camera probably wouldn't be the greatest for auto correction on the whitening, where an actual GoPro would probably correct it a lot better. I don't know. I do have a GoPro. I've got a Hero 4. There's no display screen on the back of it that I can keep an eye on in that when I'm riding to know if it's running out of battery. Like, it shows the battery percentage and everything like that on the front of the freaking GoPro, as opposed to the back of it, which I think where it should be. This is also where I realized I think I might have taken a wrong turn. I probably should have taken a left, and Ben's like, yeah, it's this way. Duh. That's great. He got his footage too. I think he's gonna try to, I don't know if he's gonna try to upload his footage, or if he's going to I don't know if he's doing that or not. I think he said he was going to try to share it to me in that, so I might be uploading another video on that might be on his perspective. Possibly, I don't know. I definitely want to get a helmet and get a helmet mount for sure. Mainly just because of the fact of the whole constant zigzagging left and right. I can imagine that's probably making some folks in that a little bit queasy. Yeah, it was making me a little bit queasy in that when I was just watching it as a freaking raw video and that. I don't know if the renderings can do anything like that. Adobe does do stabilization. There is a effect inside of here and that literally says video effect, and you go into distort and it literally says warp stabilization. Yeah, I tried to run it in that, and evidently I don't have enough RAM on my computer to do it or something, or it's not a good enough clip, or there's too much variation to where it actually doesn't do it. So it just kept failing at it. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to upload it and that without without checking the stabilization and that. And the next time that I do one of that, hopefully I'll have the helmet mount, and it'll be a lot stabler. I'm interested to see his footage though, for sure, to see what it looks like helmet versus, mounted on the bike. I like the whole mounted on the bike because you kind of get an idea where my actual tire is pointing, as opposed to looking around. And I can imagine, especially since we've got people following us and stuff like that, I'm constantly turning my head left and right and kind of being aware of my surroundings. So I can imagine that I probably have just as bad, if not worse. Yeah, it gets a little bit dark in here in that. I don't really want to put any kind of whitening effect in here, though. There's that little fucking mosquito. Come here, you little peckerhead. No, come on over here. Oh, you went up against the wall. You're dead now. Oh, you little dirty rotten turd. Sorry, Zeus, I didn't mean to kick you. Of course, Zeus is being a nice kitty because I'm not recording 7 Days to Die. He's just laying by my feet. I can't believe I talked through this entire time doing over recording. Evidently, I'm full of hot air. Yeah, it's got to be coming up around here soon, because this trail is still pretty nice in that. It's definitely towards the end. Like I think it's like the last 5 minutes or so in that of riding in that. It's like, oh, this is getting a little bit. Are you sure we're on the main road? Are you sure we're not supposed to take a left over there or whatever like that, or anything along that lines? Because it does get pretty bumpy. A lot of roots, and the roots, of course, in that act like almost like a zigzag. You almost have the zigzag left and right. Plus, we also get into a spot up here where it's relatively muddy still. It hasn't. I mean, I guess it did rain a couple days ago in that, but this is definitely in the lower area. But it's probably going to go dark here soon, because it is definitely in a darker area where the sun doesn't hit too much. Yeah, I checked the sign there. We're like, yeah, okay, is that it? Are we gonna take a left here? I think we gotta take a left here. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to take a left there. And we get to right about here. I'm like, oh, yep, I seen the sign, because this is what I look back and I'm like, yeah, this is the sign. We gotta hang a left here. This is where I do a little bit of a U-ey. And I'm like, God, this is like a freaking hard left, because you're supposed to make that little fork right there. Whereas I think this is the direction you're supposed to be riding the trail on. I could be wrong. We're like, okay, yeah, this is where it gets gnarly. This is where this is trail 9. Yeah, this is trail 9 right here. 9 to 10. 9 to 10 is like, what the hell? Like, okay, so is this it? This looks like it. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't really look like it. This looks like a harder trail or whatever like that. We're like, no, this is right. Yeah, you guys can't really see this. Oh, this sucks. I was hoping this part right here would actually come through a little bit better. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's because I have a lot of other things opened up. I guess that wasn't too bad. And we're going through like, this doesn't look like it. This looks like a regular trail or whatever like that. Like, well, it's still wider than all the other trails, So we're just kind of going through, like, oh, screw it, it still will lead out somewhere in that, right? So we're like, all right, screw it, let's just keep going. Yeah, you can see all the freaking roots in the ground. So many roots in the ground, and these roots in that are sticking up like a solid 3 to 4 inches. Oh yeah, you can't hardly see in here. Does it ever adjust? It does kind of auto adjust a little bit. Yeah, this gets pretty dumb. Yeah, this is where all the mud is too. It's like, holy crap, are you sure? Ben kept asking me, are you sure this is a trail? I'm like, that's what the sign said. The sign said it's over here. Yeah, you guys can't see any of this. It's all blacked out. Yeah, I think next time around, and then I'm going to try the GoPro. Or maybe there's a setting inside of here where I can change the ISO setting or something like that to where it adjusts easier. Because yeah, that got really dark. You guys couldn't really see it, but yeah, this is trail 9 or area 9 or whatever like that. You just see the amount of roots that are just growing up in the ground and all the mud. It's like, holy crap! You can tell. See, this is where they haven't mowed. Normally the center part right here would be all nice and mowed out. This is definitely a 2-track. This is definitely the main one, so we're on the right one, but they haven't came through and done maintenance on this area at all. That's where we're like, are we seriously in the right spot? Are we not in the right spot? Constantly bickering back and forth. Yeah, this has got to be. Let's just keep pushing through. But yeah, it got the amount of roots. Oh yeah, look at the roots here. Boom, 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 boom. Just so much. Whenever you see me zigzag left and right, I'm trying to avoid the holy shit, that root sticking up, freaking 4 inches off the ground or 4 inches above ground on that. because of course I can't just trailblaze and freaking hop on it and boogie because of course Ben's in front of me in that, and I don't want him to accidentally catch a freaking root or something like that and have him go down. Yeah, this is freaking dark. Ugh. It was getting late, of course. This, like I said, this is after work, and that I headed over to his house and we got everything squared up and went out there. We didn't actually start riding until like 7:30. By the time we had everything unpacked and we were ready to hop on the trail, and that it was probably 8 o'clock. And of course, it gets dark a little bit earlier now because it's getting closer towards the wonderful fall season. Yeah, look at these roots. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's freaking horrible. Oh yeah, this is trail 10. Hey, here we are. We found 10. Hooray! This is where I realized, crap, I actually gotta like hop off the bike a hot second just so I can get past this one route. It was interesting to say the least. But it's a fun trail system. I'm looking forward to, I think next time we go on that, we're actually going to take the main trail system. There's a bunch of different the main trail in that. So there, of course, it goes like 1 through 35. And each one of those is like its own little separate, not really separate trail, but they all connect to each other in that. So it's like trail 1 or part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, or whatever like that. So we'll be going through this area again, but then we're going to take this up to 11 and take it all the way up and around the entire square mile, basically, in that, and then come back through just to see how it is. The only downfall about riding the main trail on that is you do run into more people, of course. Nighttime wise, like right now, we ran into those two people with those two folks with the 2 big dogs or whatever like that, and a couple other folks that were also on the main trail, but nothing too crazy in that. But I can imagine if I come out here like on a Saturday, in the afternoon and that, I'm pretty sure this main trail is probably just a crap ton of people probably. Oh yeah, bump, bump, bump. Yeah. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful out here in that. The camera does not do it justice in that. It's absolutely beautiful out here in the woods. I love it. I love it. This area right here actually reminds me a lot about riding up north at the cabin, because the cabin's got all these ferns and everything all over the place in that. The trails up there are a little bit more not as bad because they're rode on by dirt bikes a lot. So like roots and everything like that, they don't survive. They just get completely ran over. Like, oh, hey, there's a light right there. Yay, we found the home. This is 3. It's like, hey, 3 leads us to freaking 2 and 1. It's like, okay, cool. We're just about back. I can't believe I did a voice overlay for this entire thing. Once again, guys, in that, if you actually watched it this far in that, just for the interest and whatnot, I appreciate it. But hey, if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to, maybe check out my 7 Days to Die or some other previous ARC videos or whatever like that, go feel free to subscribe and go take a look and check them out. I'm just trying to I'm trying to mix it up a little bit here, with the whole videos and uploading in that, not just gaming stuff in that, because as much as I still enjoy gaming, guys, I'm getting at that point now in that where it's like, it's probably a good call on that to just ease off on the gaming, do more outdoor activities, and that way we run to the doggos again. Those are some big dogs. I really wanted to stop and pet them. I really did. They're just big old fluffers. Doot. Freaking almost as definitely bigger than what the girl was, of course, but yeah. And then here we are. Dun dun dun. We made it back. Nobody fell. Nobody broke their leg. Hooray. And then, of course, we learned that Max, when he was riding through there and that, he caught an edge or something like that, I think he said in that, and he ended up having to bail off his bike, otherwise he was going to go right into a tree. So I was like, oh, well, glad that you made it here at least, and you didn't get, stuck back there. So anyways, guys, that's the end of that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see about getting some episodes in that, of course, put out. I don't think I'm going to have any episodes for the weekend or anything like that. I'm going to be going up north again, but definitely keep an eye out on Monday for another episode. But of course, until then, take care and take it easy.